Okay. All right. Chris has got a question. Please, no bashing on this question, but is it better to have consistency on techniques or flavor? Okay. Who wants to go first?
I
Technique
think,
is all about it. You got to
Yeah.
hit your
yeah,
tenderness. You got to hit your scales just right. Flavors is just a matter of the palate. You can't
Yeah.
consider flavor of five people. They're going to taste five different things. It
Yeah.
has to be consistent on your texture and hitting your points and your marks, and that's where it's going to be at every time. If you can nail that,
That's
the
it.
flavor is just going to be the flavor is going to be up in the air to anyone who judges.
That's
yeah,
right. I
yeah.
100% agree with you. It's
I think
all
if
about,
you're, I think if you're consistent on your techniques weekend after weekend, and you like your flavor profile, and it seems to be doing pretty consistent with the judges, I think if you nail your techniques, then your flavor is going to follow.
that's right. That's
You
right.
know, if you nail it,
100%.
if you know your timelines and everything that you have done well with, I think your flavor is going to do well.
Yep. I look at it like this: if you miss tenderness and texture and all that stuff, it don't matter about the flavor.
That's right.
It don't matter because at that point it's already a bad mouthfeel. It doesn't taste good. The moisture's not there. It doesn't matter what you put on for flavor. It's already done. So I think
I've
you
always
have.
heard that tenderness trumps taste, so you want to make sure you get the right techniques to get your tenderness down, and then your flavor again is going to
Right.
coattail your
Right.
technique.
And I mean
Oh,
we
definitely,
all
definitely.
are kind of running. There's just you know there's so many different rubs out there, guys, and all of us are probably using all some of the same type rubs. So the flavors are probably not too far off of anything. I mean, um, yeah, every once in a while you may have one that stands out a little bit because it may have some sweet with a lot of just a little back end heat. Rest of them are all kind of middle of the road, just tastes good barbecue. But man, it's really about where's the moisture at in the meat, how tender is it, and to me, I think that's what makes it stand out more than anything. So I
Chris, if you're
think,
going to try to go in there and recreate everything you're doing, I'd be very careful and just do it one thing at a time. Don't go in there and change your entire recipe or your techniques to get a different flavor.
yeah,
So it looks like you're having a
Well,
hard
and
time with your flavor. So you can change your wood, you can change an injection, you can change the seasoning, you can change your sauce at the end. There's so many variables that will give you a different flavor for the judges. Like Mike just said, a lot of us run almost the same kind of flavor profile, but
mm-hmm,
at the end you can change that with the sauce or with the finishing dust.
mm-hmm,
So, but a lot of it is going to be with if you inject or don't inject. You want the natural flavor of the meat to come through, then maybe little injection. If you want to overpower it with a lot of um, extra beefy enhancements, then you want to maybe go with a stronger, heavier injection. So there's a lot of things you can do to change your flavor.
mm-hmm,
So, but whatever you're going to do, just change one thing first and then document it and then run it and see how that
yeah,
works.
yeah, yeah. And if you have issues on techniques, I'm telling you right now, get the techniques worked out first, and then work on the other because the techniques will carry a lot of stuff over to your flavor.
Hmm.
So,
Aaron, what do you
um,
think?
I'm gonna be honest. Go cook an organization that gives you feedback on your flavor profile, and I say that very widely open. But KCBS can give you comments. Not all the time will you get comments, and CBA will give you comments. And so sometimes you can go cook one of those two organizations, and it will give you feedback, or you can see a numbered score on texture, tenderness, or I mean, your flavor profile and you can in appearance, I mean, you can, but you get that feedback, right? So sometimes it's not about what your friends think. It's not about what you tasted. You're going to have to go judge a little bit, maybe to find out. I always just talk to people and talk about what they, what they tasted or what they felt. But the main thing is cook an organization that gives you a little bit of feedback
mm-hmm,
towards your flavor profile, and that way you can understand. But if you go cook San Antonio, you're going to get one result. But if you go cook Cuero, you get another result. But yet you go down to 1604 somewhere down in the I don't know. I mean, pick a town, and
right,
you jump to one other town next to it. The flavor is totally different. So it's very hard to adjust your flavor profile for a judge because not only KCBS only does certified judging, the rest of everybody else, the alphabet soup over here, only does what profile they feel is comfortable to them. So it's very tough, but at least you get some kind of feedback in CBA on what possibly they were thinking in their head. It ain't always the same, and it's not always a good comment, but at least 90% or 80% of the judges give you something to work off of. But you got to cook 4, 5, 6 in a row. But the problem is, like me, if I'm cooking San Antonio this weekend and Denton, Texas next weekend, and Austin the next weekend, and West Texas next weekend, it doesn't do me any good.
Right.
But I can still narrow it down to where I find a flavor that I think might work across the state. But you got to cook something that gives that kind of feedback to find out.
Yep, 100%. All right, Aaron, got a question for you. All right, you placed using your rooster juice a couple weeks ago. What's the difference between rooster juice and cluck cutoff?
Well, my rooster juice is a brine.
Okay.
It's a brine, but at the same time, it can be used as an injection. It can be used as a rub. So we use the rooster juice in the restaurant on our chicken.
Okay.
So that's where I started making the rooster juice back in 2019. And I mean, it was something we kind of worked on and we kind of played with it, but I used it back then. But now we season our chicken breast that we flame grill at the restaurant with our rooster juice. And then I moved it, but I've always had that, but I wanted to use it every day in the restaurant for a everyday profile. How do my customers like it? How do they like the flavor on the chicken breast? So I could find that out as a seasoning. And then I've always used it as a brine, and I've always used it as an injection so I would use the brine, but I'd also use it as part of my injection. So I kind of did that, but in 19, I just kind of made it. But then COVID came in, I kind of put things on hold because obviously, things are slowing down. People are buying stuff. You can't keep stuff in stock. And it was hard to get a new product out there. So to answer your question, as far as the rooster juice goes, it is a brine. It is also can be used as an injection as part of your injection, and it can also be used as a seasoning. And so you kind of get all that going on, and it just kind of puts all those flavors together.
So your rooster juice comes in a powder.
Calcutta is just a good chicken injection.
It's a powder.
It's like using a seasoning out of a bottle.
Okay, so it's powder. Okay.
It's granular. My rooster juice is granular.
Granular. Okay. When's it going to be available? When's it available?
Well, I'm working on that.
Okay.
You guys, after the holidays, it's very tough to get a seasoning in. I'm sold out on a lot of my co-packer stuff, so trying to get that back in stock, and then trying to get a new product, coming out. And so I'm hoping by the middle of the summer it's ready to go.
Okay, there you go, middle of summer. All right.
I just got all the bags printed, so I'm just waiting on the new sample to come in, and I can get it launched and bags filled. So I need a few more, 3-4 more months.
Okay.